found Isabella. She's here live and direct. You're going to look at the camera and you're going to look at me. Congratulations on making a great hackathon happen.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a mission trying to get 100 developers in a room.
Yeah, I think we're at 100 and actually probably close to 200.
It's close to 200.
Yeah.
Oh, so exceeded expectations.
Exceeded expectations.
Phenomenal. Look, last night it was at 12 o'clock. We had dinner. I was going through and putting a profile on you, trying to ask the most outrageous questions I possibly can. You do an incredible job at moderating.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I watched the Jonathan Ross, the Grok CEO.
Yeah,
that was brilliant.
Yeah, he was great because he was open to share. And so I think conversations when you have that are just more interesting.
Absolutely.
So yeah, he did that, so I was grateful.
Give us a little intro to you to the stream.
Yeah.
For who you are, where you work.
Sure. I'll start with my fund.
Sounds great.
Then say a few words about myself. But yeah, basically, I'm an investor at Visionaries Club. We are a pan-European B2B early stage venture fund. So really our bread and butter is pre-seed and seed. We have raised our fund from former entrepreneurs. And so we have kind of two groups of people. We have some 35 plus unicorn founders out of Europe. So you can think of Daniel Dines from UiPath. We have Andre from Miro, the FlixBus founders, the HelloFresh founders, some of whom we had the privilege of backing as a VC, and they've now become our LPs.
And then must be quite fun.
So it's good. We have a very close community amongst some of we call them
incredibly high trust.
Yes, very high trust. And then on the other side of the table, which I think is a group we often forget in venture, more of the family business, old economy, not very tech savvy, not very tech forward businesses, but are the majority of Europe's GDP. And often they are quite interested in modernizing and digitizing. They just don't really know where to begin. And so they've written a check into us as a way to keep a tempo on what's happening at the earliest stages of innovation. So we kind of unite or kind of act as a connective tissue between this old and this new economy that we think should be speaking more to each other. And so, yeah, that can be the form of design partnerships, paid pilot partnerships for the founders that we back in terms of the value we bring to them. Or if they have questions on product or go to market, instead of listening to a VC, because what do we know? We can connect them to founders that have done it successfully and they can advise.
My favorite VC word of the moment is intersection, right? You guys seem to use it more than anyone on the face of the planet, right? The intersection of anything and everything.
Yeah.
You mentioned just there, what do we know? What do you know today that's giving you the edge?
I think it's what I just mentioned around bringing in, the old economy or the more traditional economy into the mix. I think that individuals that run those businesses often feel quite excluded / don't really know where to begin when it comes to AI and all this innovation because it just isn't their bread or butter. And I think very few funds think about how to engage with those groups of people, which is such a loss because if you're backing B2B businesses, which is what we focus on, often they want to sell into those guys and those individuals are really tough to reach. And so if you have them engaged as part of your own LP base, they're there for people to go and talk to. And that just isn't an angle that I've seen people think about. And so, yeah, I think just bringing everyone into the picture and uniting, I haven't seen that necessarily done.
Not often do I get to have a direct conversation with someone that's been around exceptional founders that have then turned into LPs. So two questions here. It's two-part. One, what are the characteristics of these founders that invested in and then turn into LPs?
Oh, that then turn into LPs. Well, the founders that we invest in that become LPs are often the most successful founders that we've backed. And if the question's on how
specifically, what are the characteristics of those individuals?
Yeah, how do you sort of spot exceptionality? Which is all we talk about and focus on because we do a lot of pre-seed. And really at that stage, all we really focus on is the quality of the founder. I think there are a few things. We look for example, excellence in the past. Some form...
Define excellence in the past. Is it Olympic level training or going to Olympics at the young age, performing at the highest level?
It can be, or I think one of the ones that I find quite interesting is socio-economic.
Okay.
That dimension. People that have had to overcome some sort of adversity. So a lot of people have to fight really hard to get to good universities. And so, often just going to a really good school, it's great and we love to see it. But some people have had a really intense journey to get there. And just finding out what that backstory is super, super interesting because I think a lot of what we experience in childhood informs what we are sort of motivated by in adulthood. And so, yeah, just sort of any evidence of chip on the shoulder or overcoming an adversity that really builds up sort of resilience or grit I'd say like those are the two things that we really anchor on, and are traits that a lot of the founders that we've backed that have done really well share.
Okay, second part of this question. As LPs, what are they like?
They're really interesting. So they're very entrepreneurial people.
Of course.
And we're a very entrepreneurial fund, just in like our makeup and setup and the way that we've sort of set things up and how we operate. And so, they're not there for like formal processing structure. They're there when they're needed, and very much are just like, hey, if you need to bring me into something, like ping me on WhatsApp. And like that is about like just flexibility. And I think that's really kind of the core of entrepreneurialism, is just being really sort of flexible and responsive to things that change. And so that is how they like to engage with us. It's very much how we run and how we work with our founders. Yeah.
Landscape of Europe right now, what are you seeing?
Everything. Everything's shifted and changed.
Tell me more.
I'd say we're seeing a couple of things. Some of the verticals that have become quite interesting are things, for example, in energy, because there's a huge sort of spike in energy demand. I think a lot of our infrastructure in Europe is not set up to be able to service that demand. So we're seeing innovation there. Actually, interestingly, not so much on the hardware, which is often where I think a lot of energy innovation happens, but more on like software. So that's been really interesting.
I've seen a similar flavor of B2B software for hardware.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is just spiking across the board.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're slowly seeing, these larger infrastructure investors investing in the hardware.
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, in Germany, there's a big boom at the moment in like industrial scale batteries that people are using to charge up to kind of balance the grid load. This is a huge problem in Germany, where they have a lot of like peaks and troughs, and a lot of really like awful energy pricing that's driving up cost. And so, yeah, we're seeing a lot of, software providers that come to try and optimize, for example, how you use a battery and how you run it and charge it. We're seeing things in cybersecurity, like a lot of the cyber attacks that companies are facing are really sophisticated and quite scary. So how do you sort of set up your infrastructure to be more robust against these sort of AI-enabled cyber attacks? That is like another theme that's come up, which is quite interesting.
We've talked about pre-seed. How has that changed over the years? I feel like early stage right now. I mean, not over the years, like in the past year.
Yeah.
Pre-seed sort of feels like an early angel round. You sort of want to have a relationship with those founders before you even invest.
Yeah.
But moving forward, as you sort of like roll that into a seed and then a Series A, how has that landscape shifted? Are the valuations just larger than ever before?
Yeah, that's a great question. So firstly,
I know they're great questions. It's usually you in this seat.
So, in the old world, to raise a Series A, you need like $1 million and $1.5 million of revenue.
Right.
In today's world, you need like 2.5 to 3.
Okay.
And so that has gone up massively. It's not just about getting to that; it's also about the rate that you get to that. And so,
speed is of the essence.
Speed is really important to show that there's momentum. It's not just about top line revenue. Other metrics have now started to matter more, like retention. So a lot of investors are going, okay, so many companies now seem to somehow get to $1 million very, very quick. But what is the quality of that revenue? Are these customers that churn because they brought a bit of a crappy product to market too soon and customers don't find value and they churn? So retention is becoming really important. So that's sort of like a dynamic shift at the A. At pre-seed, things still get funded where it's true pre-seed as in there's just an idea, but more and more, because I think the barriers to getting a product launched and opening a business have gone down. There are more companies that are raising those rounds that have actually proved some sort of traction. So a couple $100K of revenue, for example, at pre-seed. And in the old days, it wasn't that. That was more like what you would see at seed. And so things have shifted. Like what you need to hit to be successful at those stages has gone up. It has never been easier to raise money. That is true, because there is so much money, but like the thresholds for success at subsequent rounds have gone up. And so I always think it's like easy to raise your first round, hard to raise your second round. And good companies at pre-seed, we find also skip their seed and go straight to A.
Really?
Yeah. Because they grow so quick. So like, why raise a seed? I can like raise an A.
And so is it like it's almost like a pre-seed B sometimes?
Yeah, it would be like a...
So it's like a smaller seed just to keep them rolling and then just go straight into the Series A.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of these questions on like, is there a bit of a negative selection bias for like companies that do need to raise a seed because they couldn't get to the A quicker? And then I think for a lot of seed, like dedicated pre-seed and seed funds, like for us, we're really trying to get better at doing pre-seed. Or not, we've always done pre-seed, I think, decently well, but like really focusing there a lot more.
Refine the craft.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it really is a craft today. It's betting on people.
It's a people it's a people judgment. Yeah.
Have people changed?
Um,
Is the show a little better these days?
I think European founders are getting better at storytelling and raising.
I've heard
American
this narrative
founders,
as well. They're incredibly great.
yeah, like American founders are like notoriously good at like just the confidence thing. In the Europe, you've a collection of many countries and many languages, and so English can be a second or third language. And I think sometimes confidence drops, and so it's small things like that. But when all your kind of underwriting is like the individual, even a small lapse of confidence can like hinder you from investing. So it's good to see that that has changed, because I think it's probably the most important thing at the pre-seed stage, and actually at any stage, but particularly at pre-seed. So yeah, I'd say that they've gotten stronger on that front, which cybersecurity.
Pessimistic.
Oh,
I will drop you that.
consumer.
Really?
Actually, sorry, I'm going to switch it. Fintech.
Really?
Yeah.
But we're so good at it.
But yeah, but it's quite saturated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most exceptional product you've used in the last year?
Oh, that's a great one. I built a couple of agents on 88N and really enjoyed it.
So your own products?
Very, very recent on products. Yes.
Out of your LPs, who's your favorite?
Oh, that's a hard question. We have one LP called who's a PlayerX founder called Igor. He's very under the radar, very, very self-made individual. His company's worth 9 billion, or he's worth 9 billion.
Amazing.
But has an incredible sort of origin story. Also, a lot of his workforce was split between Russia and Ukraine. And he had to navigate, obviously, the geopolitical situation there, and did, I think, an incredible job of like relocating people, denounced as Russian citizens. Like, he's just a very, very inspiring character. And yeah, I had the privilege of meeting him, and I think he's one of our most exceptional LPs.
I know that as a VC and as an investor, obviously all your investment are your children. Do you have a favorite one right now?
Oh, I can't answer. I can't answer that question.
So she has a favorite. She's just not telling us.
I have founders that I find really exceptional. The one thing I'd say is like second-time founders are really incredible to work with because they have so many learnings from all the mistakes that they made in their first venture. That as an investor, your learning spikes as well. So I really enjoy working.
Okay, last one.
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to have a generational company come out of Europe in the next 5 years?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
100% conviction.
Yes, 100%.
Is there any particular one you're betting on?
Yeah, I would say there's one that's a bit under the radar, but really incredible. Aikido security.
Aikido, yep.
Out of Belgium, giving the likes of Wiz and Sneaker run for their money, growing very, very fast. Not at the billion, like they're much lower valued at the moment, but I think they'll get there with the rate that they're growing.
This has been awesome.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to doing a deep dive at some point.
Yeah.